Sir Ian Murray McKellen, born the 25th of May 1939, is an English actor. He is the recipient of 6 Laurence Olivier Awards, a Tony Award, a Golden Globe Award, a Screen Actors Guild Award, a Biff Award, 2 Saturn Awards, 4 Drama Desk Awards and 2 Critics' Choice Awards. He has also received 2 Academy Award nominations, 4 BAFTA nominations and 5 Emmy Award nominations. McKellen's work spans genres ranging from Shakespearean and modern theater to popular fantasy and science fiction. His most well-known film roles include Gandalf in The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit trilogies and Magneto in the X-Men films. McKellen was appointed Commander of the Order of the British Empire in 1979, knighted in 1991 for services to the performing arts, and made a Companion of Honor for services to drama and to equality, in the 2008 New Year Honours. He was made a Freeman of the City of London in October 2014. Early life. McKellen was born on the 25th of May 1939 in Burnley, Lancashire, the son of Marjorie Lois, née Sutcliffe, and Dennis Murray McKellen, a civil engineer. He was their second child, with a sister, John, 5 years his senior. Shortly before the outbreak of the Second World War in September 1939, his family moved to Wigan. They lived there through the war and his early childhood. They relocated to Bolton in 1951, after his father had been promoted. The experience of living through the war as a young child had some lasting impact on him, and he later claimed that only after peace resumed did I realize that war wasn't normal. In response to an interview question, when an interviewer remarked that he seemed quite calm in the aftermath of the 11th of September attacks, he said, "Well, darling, you forget, I slept under a steel plate until I was 4 years old." McKellen's father was a civil engineer and lay preacher, and was of Protestant Irish and Scottish descent. Both of McKellen's grandfathers were preachers, and his great-great-grandfather, James McKellen, was a strict, evangelical Protestant minister in Ballymena, County Antrim. His home environment was strongly Christian, but non-orthodox. "My upbringing was of low nonconformist Christians who felt that you led the Christian life in part by behaving in a Christian manner to everybody you met." When he was 12, his mother died. His father died when he was 24. Of his coming out of the closet to his stepmother, Gladys McKellen, who was a member of the Religious Society of Friends, he said, "Not only was she not fazed, but as a member of a society which declared its indifference to people's sexuality years back, I think she was just glad for my sake that I wasn't lying anymore." McKellen attended Bolton School, Boys Division, of which he is still a supporter, attending regularly to talk to pupils. McKellen's acting career started at Bolton Little Theatre, of which he is now the patron. An early fascination with the theatre was encouraged by his parents, who took him on a family outing to Peter Pan at the Opera House in Manchester when he was 3. When he was 9, his main Christmas present was a wood and bakelite, fold-away Victorian theatre from Pollock's Toy Theatres, with cardboard scenery and wires to push on the cutouts of Cinderella and of Laurence Olivier's Hamlet. His sister took him to his first Shakespeare play, Twelfth Night, by the amateurs of Wigan's Little Theatre, shortly followed by their Macbeth and Wigan High School for Girls production of A Midsummer Night's Dream, with music by Mendelssohn, with the role of Bottom played by Jean McKellen, who continued to act, direct, and produce amateur theatre until her death. When he was 18 years old, McKellen won a scholarship to St. Catherine's College, Cambridge, where he read English literature. Career. Theatre. While at Cambridge, McKellen was a member of the Marlowe Society, appearing in Henry IV, as Shallow, alongside Trevor Nunn and Derek Jacobi, March 1959, Cymbeline, as Posthumous, opposite Margaret Drabble as Imogen, and Dr. Faustus. His first professional appearance was in 1961 at the Belgrade Theatre, as Roper in A Man for All Seasons, although an audio recording of the Marlowe Society's Cymbeline had gone on commercial sale as part of the Argo Shakespeare series. After 4 years in regional repertory theatres, he made his first West End appearance, in A Scent of Flowers, regarded as a notable success. In 1965 he was a member of Laurence Olivier's National Theatre Company at the Old Vic, which led to roles at the Chichester Festival. With the Prospect Theatre Company, McKellen made his breakthrough performances of Richard II, directed by Richard Cottrell, and Marlowe's Edward II, directed by Toby Robertson, at the Edinburgh Festival in 1969, the latter causing a storm of protest over the enactment of the homosexual Edward's lurid death. In the 1970s and 1980s, McKellen became a well-known figure in British theatre, performing frequently at the Royal Shakespeare Company and the Royal National Theatre, where he played several leading Shakespearean roles, including the titular part in Macbeth, which he had first essayed for Trevor Nunn in a gripping, out of the ordinary production, with Judi Dench, at Stratford in 1970. 1976, and Iago in Othello, in award-winning productions directed by Nunn. Both of these productions were adapted into television films, also directed by Nunn. In 2007 he returned to the Royal Shakespeare Company, in productions of King Lear and the Seagull, both directed by Trevor Nunn. In 2009 he appeared in a very popular revival of Waiting for Godot at London's Haymarket Theatre, directed by Sean Mathias, and playing opposite Patrick Stewart. He is patron of English Touring Theatre and also president and patron of the Little Theatre Guild of Great Britain, an association of amateur theatre organisations throughout the UK. In late August 2012, he took part in the opening ceremony of the London Paralympics, portraying Prospero from The Tempest. Popular success. McKellen had taken film roles throughout his career, beginning in 1969 with his role of George Matthews in A Touch of Love, and his first leading role was in 1980 as D.H. Lawrence in Priest of Love, but it was not until the 1990s that he became more widely recognized in this medium after several roles in blockbuster Hollywood films. In 1993, McKellen had a supporting role as a South African tycoon in the critically acclaimed 6 Degrees of Separation, in which he starred with Stockard Channing, Donald Sutherland, and Will Smith. In the same year, he appeared in minor roles in the television miniseries Tales of the City, based on the novel by his friend Armistead Maupin, and the film Last Action Hero, in which he played Death. Later that same year, he also appeared in the television film And the Band Played On, about the discovery of the AIDS virus, for which McKellen won a Koblis Award for Supporting Actor in a Movie or Miniseries and was nominated for the Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Miniseries or a Movie. In 1995, he played the title role in Richard III, which transported the setting into an alternative 1930s in which England is ruled by fascists. The film was a critical success. McKellen co-produced and co-wrote the film, adapting the play for the screen based on a stage production of Shakespeare's play directed by Richard Eyre for the Royal National Theatre, in which McKellen had appeared. As executive producer he returned his £50,000 fee to complete the filming of the final battle. In his review of the film, Washington Post film critic Hal Hinson called McKellen's performance a lethally flamboyant incarnation, and said his florid mastery dominates everything. His performance in the title role garnered Best Actor nominations for the BAFTA Award and Golden Globe, and won the European Film Award for Best Actor. His screenplay was nominated for the BAFTA Award for Best Adapted Screenplay. He appeared in the modestly acclaimed film Apt Pupil, which was directed by Bryan Singer and based on a story by Stephen King. McKellen portrayed a fugitive Nazi officer, living under a false name in the U.S., who is befriended by a curious teenager, Brad Renfro, who threatens to expose him unless he tells his story in detail. He was subsequently nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actor for his role in the 1998 film Gods and Monsters, wherein he played James Whale, the director of Showboat, 1936, and Frankenstein. In 1999 McKellen was cast, again under the direction of Bryan Singer, to play the comic book supervillain Magneto in the 2000 film X-Men and its sequels X2, X-Men United and X-Men, The Last Stand. While filming X-Men McKellen was cast as the wizard Gandalf in Peter Jackson's 3-film adaptation of The Lord of the Rings, consisting of The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King. He received honors from the Screen Actors Guild for Best Supporting Actor in a Motion Picture for his work in The Fellowship of the Ring, and was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for the same role. He also provided the voice of Gandalf for several video game adaptations of the films. On the 10th of January 2011 it was officially confirmed that McKellen would reprise the role of Gandalf in the 3-part film adaptation of The Hobbit. On the 16th of March 2002, he hosted Saturday Night Live. In 2003, McKellen made a guest appearance as himself on the American cartoon show The Simpsons, in a special British-themed episode entitled The Regina Monologues, along with Tony Blair and J.K. Rowling. In April and May 2005, he played the role of Mel Hutchright in Granada Television's long-running soap opera, Coronation Street, fulfilling a lifelong ambition. He narrated Richard Bell's film 18, as a grandfather who leaves his World War II memoirs on audiocassette for his teenage grandson. McKellen has appeared in limited-release films, such as Emile, which was shot in 3 weeks following the X2 shoot, Never Was an Asylum. He appeared as Sir Lee Teabing in The Da Vinci Code. During a 17 May 2006 interview on The Today Show with the Da Vinci Code cast and director, Matt Lauer posed a question to the group about how they would have felt if the film had borne a prominent disclaimer that it is a work of fiction, as some religious groups wanted. McKellen McKellen responded, "I've often thought the Bible should have a disclaimer in the front saying, 'This is fiction. I mean, walking on water. It takes an act of faith. And I have faith in this movie, not that it's true, not that it's factual, but that it's a jolly good story." He continued, "And I think audiences are clever enough and bright enough to separate out fact and fiction, and discuss the thing when they've seen it." McKellen appeared in the 2006 series of Ricky Gervais' comedy series Extras, where he played himself directing Gervais' character Andy Millman in a play about gay lovers. McKellen received a 2007 Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Guest Actor, Comedy Series nomination for his performance. In 2009 he portrayed Number 2 in The Prisoner, a remake of the 1967 cult series The Prisoner. He reprised his role as Magneto in X-Men, Days of Future Past, released in May 2014. He shared the role with Michael Fassbender, who played a younger version of the character in 2011's X-Men, First Class. In 2013, McKellen co-starred in the ITV sitcom Vicious as Freddie Thornhill, alongside Derek Jacobi. The series revolves around an elderly gay couple who have been together for 50 years. On the 23rd of August 2013 the show was renewed for a 6-episode second series which began airing in June 2015. In November 2013 McKellen appeared in the one-off Doctor Who 50th anniversary comedy homage The Five-ish Doctors reboot. McKellen was awarded an honorary Doctorate of Letters by Cambridge University on the 18th of June 2014. In October 2015 McKellen appeared as Norman to Anthony Hopkins' Sir in a BBC Two production of Ronald Harwood's The Dresser, alongside Edward Fox and Emily Watson. Personal life. McKellen and his first partner, Brian Taylor, a history teacher from Bolton, began their relationship in 1964. Their relationship lasted for 8 years, ending in 1972. They lived in London, where McKellen continued to pursue his career as an actor. For over a decade, he has lived in a 5-story Victorian conversion in Narrow Street, Limehouse. In 1978 he met his second partner, Sean Mathias, at the Edinburgh Festival. This relationship lasted until 1988. According to Mathias, the 10-year love affair was tempestuous, with conflicts over McKellen's success in acting versus Mathias's somewhat less successful career. Mathias later directed McKellen in Waiting for Godot at the Theatre Royal Haymarket in 2009. The pair entered into a business partnership with Evgeny Lebedev, purchasing the lease on the Grapes Public House in Narrow Street. McKellen is an atheist. In 2001, Ian McKellen received the Artist Citizen of the World Award, France. In the late 1980s, McKellen lost his appetite for meat except for fish, and so mostly excludes it from his diet. He has a tattoo of the Elvish number 9, written using J.R.R. Tolkien's fictional language of Tengwar, on his shoulder in reference to his involvement in The Lord of the Rings and the fact that his character was one of the original 9 companions of the Fellowship of the Ring. The other actors of the Fellowship, Elijah Wood, Sean Astin, Orlando Bloom, Billy Boyd, Sean Bean, Dominic Monaghan and Viggo Mortensen, have the same tattoo. John Rhys-Davies, whose character was also one of the original 9 companions, arranged for his stunt double to get the tattoo instead. He was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2006. In 2012, McKellen stated on his blog that there is no cause for alarm. "I am examined regularly and the cancer is contained. I've not needed any treatment." He became an ordained minister of the Universal Life Church in early 2013 in order to preside over the marriage of his X-Men co-star Patrick Stewart to his then-fiancée Sunny Ozell. McKellen was awarded an honorary degree by Cambridge University on the 18th of June 2014, becoming a Doctor of Letters. He was made a Freeman of the City of London on Thursday the 30th of October 2014. The ceremony took place at Guildhall in London. McKellen was nominated by London's Lord Mayor Fiona Woolf, who said he was chosen as he was an exceptional actor and tireless campaigner for equality, activism, LGBT rights campaigning, charity work. In April 2010, along with actors Brian Cox and Eleanor Braun, McKellen appeared in a series of TV advertisements to support Age UK, the charity recently formed from the merger of Age Concern and Help the Aged. All 3 actors gave their time free of charge. A cricket fan since childhood, McKellen umpired in March 2011 for a charity cricket match in New Zealand to support earthquake victims of the February 2011 Christchurch earthquake. McKellen is an honorary board member for the New York and Washington, D.C.-based organization Only Make Believe. Only Make Believe creates and performs interactive plays in children's hospitals and care facilities. He was honored by the organization in 2012 and hosted their annual Make Believe on Broadway gala in November 2013. He garnered publicity for the organization by stripping down to his Lord of the Rings underwear on stage. Isaac Theatre Royal, Christchurch. While in New Zealand filming The Hobbit in 2012, McKellen announced a special New Zealand tour, Shakespeare, Tolkien, and You, with proceeds from the shows going to help save the Isaac Theatre Royal, which suffered extensive damage during the 2011 Christchurch earthquake. McKellen said he opted to help save the building as it was the last theatre he played in New Zealand, Waiting for Godot in 2010, and the locals' love for it made it a place worth supporting. Selected credits: Stage, Much Ado About Nothing, Royal National Theatre, Old Vic, London, 1965, Trelawney of the Wells, National Theatre, London and Chichester Festival, 1965, The Promise, West End, Broadway, 1967, Edward II, in title role, Edinburgh Festival and West End, 1969, Hamlet, title role, UK, European Tour, 1971, 'Tis Pity She's a Whore, UK Tour, 1972, Dr. Faustus, title role, Royal Shakespeare Company, Edinburgh Festival and Aldwych Theatre, London, 1974, King John, RSC, 1975, Romeo and Juliet, as Romeo, RSC, Stratford-upon-Avon and London, 1976, The Winter's Tale, RSC, Stratford-upon-Avon, 1976, Macbeth, title role, RSC, Stratford-upon-Avon and Young Vic, London, 1976-1977, The Alchemist, RSC, Stratford-upon-Avon and London, 1977, Every Good Boy Deserves Favor, RSC, Barbican Arts Centre, London, 1977, Three Sisters, RSC, UK Tour, 1978, Bent, as Max, Royal Court and Criterion, London, 1979, Acting Shakespeare, as himself, Copenhagen, 1980, Amadeus, as Salieri, Broadway, 1980, Coriolanus, title role, National Theatre, 1984, Wild Honey, National Theatre, 1984, and Broadway, 1986, The Cherry Orchard, as Lopakhin, National Theatre, 1985, The Duchess of Malfi, National Theatre, 1985, The Real Inspector Hound, National Theatre, London and Paris, 1985, Othello, as Iago, RSC, London and Stratford-upon-Avon, 1989, Richard III, title role, National Theatre, World Tour, 1990 and U.S. Tour, 1992, Uncle Vanya, title role, National Theatre, 1992, Peter Pan, as Mr. Darling, Captain Hook, National Theatre, 1997, An Enemy of the People, National Theatre, 1997 and Amundsen Theatre, Los Angeles, 1998. Present Laughter, West Yorkshire Playhouse, Leeds, England, 1998. Dance of Death, at the Broadhurst Theatre, New York, in 2001. At the Lyric Theatre, London, England, in 2003. Aladdin, as Widow Twankey, Old Vic, 2004 and 2005. The Cut, Donmar Warehouse, 2006. King Lear by William Shakespeare, as Lear, Courtyard Theatre, Stratford-upon-Avon, 2007. New Zealand, 2007. New York, Brooklyn Academy of Music, 2007. Minneapolis, 2007, New London Theatre, West End, 2007-8. The Seagull by Anton Chekhov, as Soren, Courtyard Theatre, Stratford-upon-Avon, 2007, New York, Brooklyn Academy of Music, 2007 Minneapolis, 2007, New London Theatre, West End, 2007-8. Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett, as Estragon, Theatre Royal Haymarket, London, 2009 and 2010. Comedy Theatre, Melbourne, Australia, 2010 and Fugard Theatre, Cape Town, South Africa, 2010. The Syndicate by Eduardo de Filippo, Chichester Festival, 2011. No Man's Land and Waiting for Godot, Double Bill, Broadway, 2013-2014. Letters Live, Freemasons Hall, 2015. Filmography, Awards and Nominations. Music. In 1987 Ian McKellen appeared reciting Shakespeare while the super rock group The Fleshtones improvised behind him on Andy Warhol's 15 Minutes which ran on MTV. Vampire in the music video Heart by Pet Shop Boys. The Man Who's Falling Out of Reach in the music video Falling Out of Reach by Guillemots appears on the Scissor Sisters track Invisible Light, from their 2010 album Night Work, reciting a passage regarding the invisible light of the title, appeared as himself alongside George Ezra in the latter's music video for Listen to the Man. Whilst Ezra is singing his song, McKellen joins in and lip-syncs Ezra's voice. Audiobooks. Audiobook narrator of Michelle Paver's series Wolf Brother, Spirit Walker, Soul Eater, Outcast, Oathbreaker and Ghost Hunter, as well as a version of Homer's The Odyssey. Other work. A friend of actor Ian Charleson and an admirer of his work, McKellen contributed an entire chapter to the 1990 book, For Ian Charleson, a tribute. A recording of McKellen's voice is heard before performances at the Royal Festival Hall, reminding patrons to ensure their mobile phones and watch alarms are switched off, and to keep coughing to a minimum. He also took part in the 2012 Summer Paralympics opening ceremony as Prospero. Sources.